Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everyone around the world. Thank you very much for joining the webinar today. My name is Ashwint, and I'm a marketing analyst at Zoho Analytics. I'm joining you today from Chennai. So, how has 2020 been for Chennai? The 380-year-old city was under intense lockdown. The city administration is gradually relaxing the restrictions, and we are gearing up for a brighter 2021. Well, having said that, at Zoho Analytics, we are consciously realigning our efforts to meet your ever changing business needs amidst today's looming uncertainty. While we look forward to providing you with an enriching analytics experience in 2021, we thought it would be useful to have a webinar on the top 40 key features in 2020 in just 40 minutes. All right, before we head into the session, here's the agenda. We get started with the categorization of updates. Switching gears, we're going to dive deep into the 40 key features in 40 minutes. With a quick summary of the webinar, we're going to head straight into an interesting Q&A session. All right, folks, I got 3 exclusive announcements to make before we get into the 40 key features. These are as new as yesterday evening, and this is going to be the first public announcement from Zoho Analytics. Well, technically, it would be the second because we had a session at 4:30 p.m. IST today. Well, the first update is that we have unbundled Zoho Finance Suite, which means Zoho Books, Invoice, Inventory, Subscriptions, and Expense, which is a part of the Zoho Finance bundle, are now available as individual tiles, like the one you see here on the screen. If you're using only Zoho Books, you can just click on the Zoho Books tile and have your Zoho Books account integrated with Zoho Analytics. Well, this split up has led us to rework on more than 300 plus pre-built reports and dashboards across these connectors. And if you're using Zoho Finance as a product bundle, or if you choose to use Zoho Finance, you can still continue to do that because Zoho Finance is also available as an individual tile here under the import wizard. Well, the second update is that Zoho Expense, which was available in beta a couple of months ago, is now available in general availability for all users. So you can have your Zoho Analytics account integrated with Zoho Expense to run analysis on your expense data. All right, the third and probably a very interesting update that we have here is we have beefed up our Ask Zia capabilities. Well, now you can ask Zia to forecast your data, and also you can take Zia's help to draw trend lines in your data. You can use keywords like forecast, predict, or estimate to have your metrics forecasted, or otherwise, you can simply ask Zia, hey, what's my sale for the next 3 months or for March 2021? Zia understands these questions and can forecast these metrics. Similarly, Zia works with trend lines as well. All right, with these 3 interesting fresh from oven updates, we're going to get into the categorization of updates. I have aligned the updates based on the workflow in Zoho Analytics. That's going to help us digest and assimilate these updates more effectively. We're going to discuss updates across data import, data preparation, visualization, analysis, collaboration, user experience, and admin. All right, we have a diverse group of audience today, so I'm going to quickly introduce Zoho Analytics in just two simple slides. Zoho Analytics is a self-service business intelligence and analytics platform. It was launched in the year 2009 as one of the pioneers in the self-service BI space. Today, Zoho Analytics enjoys the loyalty of more than 10,000 happy customers and more than 2 million happy users spread across 150 countries. Well, Zoho Analytics can help you get your data from more than 250 plus data sources in the forms of files and feeds, local databases, cloud databases, and popular business applications. With all that data inside your platform, you can visually analyze them in the form of reports and dashboards. You have a set of pre built reports and dashboards that are a part of the integration with select business applications, or you can build your own reports and dashboards using the simple drag and drop interface, or the ML powered AI assistant Ask Zia can help you get the relevant insights. Well, Zoho Analytics offers more than 50 ways of visually analyzing your data in the form of geomaps, area maps, bubble charts, bar charts, histograms, and a lot more. Doesn't end there. You can also collaborate with your teams. You can have these reports and dashboards shared with individuals or with groups, and you can also have them embedded inside your intranet, websites, or blogs. These reports and dashboards can be up and running on big screens in the form of slideshows, and also the contextual commenting feature enables you to collaborate in real time for quicker business decisions. All right, let's walk straight into the spotlight for the day. 40 key features in 40 minutes, and we're going to get started with data import. The adoption of business applications across organizations is on the rise. Analytics, when integrated with these business applications, become a key business enabler because it puts insights into the hands of business users. In this context, we now integrate with more business applications, and here are a few names. Zoho Expense, I explained to you about this integration at the beginning of the webinar. You can now get powerful insights by integrating your Zoho Analytics account with LinkedIn ads, Eventbrite, Sage, Instagram, Sales IQ, Site 24/7, and with QuickBooks, we now support a new module as a part of the existing integration, that's customer type. Well, with these integrations in place, you get access to an exhaustive collection of pre built reports and dashboards. On top of that, you can also customize analytics by building your own reports and dashboards. You can blend data from multiple sources for cross functional analysis. Let's say, for example, you want to have your LinkedIn ads data blend with your Sage data and blend with your CRM data to understand the marketing, finance, and sales ecosystem inside your organization. You can do that by integrating Zoho Analytics with the relevant business applications. And there's a lot more to explore. So, if you're looking to integrate with any of these apps, you might want to check out our import data section where you have the list of applications with which Zoho Analytics offers direct integration. All right, get your data from local databases like SAP HANA, Hive, Firebird, Microsoft Access, and a few more that you see here on the screen. You can synchronize data from these sources and you can have them imported into your existing workspace. Well, given the gaining popularity of cloud drives, you can now get your data from Google Team Drive, Zoho Work Drive, and also from Amazon S3. Another interesting update, you can now import data from a cloud database directly into a table. Well, though it looks small, it's of immense use. Let me give you an example. Let's say you have your data over the years stored on a local drive, and you have imported that inside Zoho Analytics, and you have built multiple reports and dashboards on that data. Your company decides to move that data to a cloud database. Earlier, you had to get the data from a cloud database into a new table, build these reports and dashboards, establish your entire analytics ecosystem once again. Whereas today, it's a seamless change of source without hampering the existing reports and dashboards. You can just get your data into the existing table without disturbing the reports and dashboards. All right, what you see here on the screen is a cool geo report. This has mapped your data across different regions. Well, an interesting update here is that you can now customize your own territories. This means you can bring in your custom spatial data into Zoho Analytics and geodata formats, namely point, polygon, and multi-polygon, gets automatically identified when you try to import spatial data files into Zoho Analytics. With that data inside Zoho Analytics, you can build your own geomaps for your territories. Let's say, for example, you want to perform an analysis on electoral constituencies. Now, that's not a standardized geo mapping, but it's very customized to that particular region or constituency. Or let's say you want to plot your delivery locations based on seaports. Now that you might have a different classification of your territories. You can build your own spatial data, get it inside Zoho Analytics, and Zoho Analytics enables you to build these cool geo charts like the ones that you see here for your own territories. All right, here's an interesting update. Well, if you want to get your data from multiple pages, and this is going to be really helpful. Now, let's say, for example, you're trying to get your data through the API route, and let's assume you have 100,000 records distributed across say multiple pages, and for every API call you get to import only 10,000 records. So this means you had to manually run this operation 10 times to get 10,000 records across 10 pages to make a total of 100k. Today, you can just simply define that on the interface. I have attached a sample screenshot here, and Zoho Analytics can perform this manual operation of getting data from multiple pages all by itself, and it can get you all the 100k records in batches. Today, we support pagination types that you see here on the screen. You can define the page numbers, you can define the next page URL, or you can define the offset and limit to get your data in batches. So, folks, we're winding up the data import updates, and we're going to the next section of updates that's on data preparation. Well, 80% of your analysis time is spent on data preparation. So we have two powerful updates under data preparation. And the first one is your data snapshot. Well, if you have data that's continuously changing and you want to keep track of these historic changes, data snapshot is your go to feature. Now, let's take the example of your outstanding tickets by agents in a help desk application. Now, the day on day outstanding number of tickets gets overridden by the current outstanding ticket. So, how do you keep track of the outstanding tickets over a period of time? You can simply snapshot the data at your desired frequency, and Zoho Analytics populates this historic change in the form of a table, and you can visually analyze these changes by building your own reports and dashboards on that table. Here's the next update. It's about having a date based lookup column. Well, earlier, when you want to establish a lookup between tables, We were supporting text and numbers as the data type to establish this lookup, and we continue to do that. Well, today, date is also a data type that's got added if you want to establish a lookup between tables. Now, let's say a warehouse manager maintains the stock in details, stock out details, and returns across three different tables. The warehouse manager wants to understand for a particular day what's been the stock in, stock out, and returns. Now, you can simply establish a lookup by date among the three tables, and you can visually analyze the data for a particular day, what's the stock in, stock out, and returns. All right, with these two powerful features, we are now switching gears to the third category, that's visualization. Here we have added two new visualizations to our basket of charts. The first one is about horizontal bar charts. Let's say you wanted to swap your x axis and y axis on a report. Earlier, you had to do that manually. Well, no big deal, you do it. But what if you have multiple metrics on y axis? That becomes a challenge. Today, you can simply change the chart type to a horizontal bar chart, and the readability also is enhanced when you visualize your data in the form of a horizontal bar chart. I've attached a sample screenshot here on the right hand side of the screen. The second new chart that we have added to our basket of visualizations is histograms. Histograms are useful to summarize discrete or continuous data. It helps you understand distribution of data, which is a key factor in making business decisions. It helps you to understand the skewedness in your data. It also helps you spot outliers, and histograms are very useful in analyzing outcomes. All right, we got a visual enhancement in 2020, that's fill chart with patterns. It's very helpful for those who have difficulty in identifying colors. Not just that, it also helps you enhance the visual appeal of your charts. There are three different palette types that Zoho Analytics supports today: single pattern fill, multiple pattern fill with single color, multiple pattern fill with multiple colors, and I have attached three samples on the screen. Moving on, we have two new pivot table enhancements. The first one is on expand and collapse pivot views. These are very helpful when you want to analyze detailed pivot tables like financial reports. It gives you a more decomposed view of your pivot table. You can collapse or expand at a column level or even at a cell level, and I'm running this GIF right below the title, and you can see how this feature works. Moving on, you can now show or hide in pivot view. It helps you analyze your data in a much better way. Once again, it gives you a decomposed view for visual understanding, and it helps you run ad hoc analysis on the go. How is this different from your expand and collapse? When you show or hide a column in your pivot table, that particular column is not considered for that particular analysis. Let's say, for example, here on the screenshot, I have tried hiding the cost for 2017. Now, let's say you have a cost column which has a sum total of your cost across 2017, 18, 19, and 20. When you hide the cost column for 2017, it gets dropped off from your cost total across the 4 years, and it's not considered for that analysis. So that helps you run ad hoc analysis, quick analysis on your data the way you want. All right, so with that, we're going to move to the next interesting update on analysis. We have beefed up our advanced intelligence capabilities in Zia. Zia now understands unstructured and incomplete queries. This means you need not be grammatically correct or structured. You can ask unstructured, incomplete questions, and Zia understands these questions to give you the necessary answers. We have also built in typo tolerance. In case you're typing a question with spelling mistakes, Zia can understand those terms and can give you relevant insights. Well, Zia is now equipped to interpret function types. Let's say you want to understand the cumulative monthly sales in 2020. You can just ask Zia to get you a report on the cumulative monthly sales in 2020. And this actually means running total, which you need not specify in a question, but the intelligence built inside the platform can understand these function types. Zia can now comprehend short dates and weekday, weekend. You can ask Zia, hey, can you show me the sales over the weekends for November 2020? And Zia can understand these questions. Or you want to say MOM for month on month or YOY for year on year, you can perfectly do that as well. Zia can now also understand units of measurements like pounds, miles, and a lot more. All right, with these advanced intelligence built into the platform, we are now going to get to advanced analytics, and that's on Trendline. Well, you can see a chart here on the screen which has too many valleys and too many peaks. It's practically difficult to understand the trend in this data set because of the fluctuating nature of the data set across months. So I'm going to use a trend line to spot the trend, and you can see, you can just hit on analysis, you hit on add trend line, and you can define the type you want the analysis to be done, and you can choose your confidence line. Upon formatting the trend line, you can just hit OK and apply, and you have the trend line of your data set on this chart. Well, Zoho Analytics now supports linear, logarithmic, exponential, power, and polynomial models for the trend line feature. Well, if that's a bouncer for you, the same way I feel now, no worries. Zoho Analytics intelligently understands your data to apply the relevant model. You can also define your own or choose your own model for modeling the trend line. All right, on the exploratory analytics part of it, we have built immersive and interactive features. You can use wildcard filters now to filter with multiple conditions like contains, does not match, starts with, ends with. Earlier, if you wanted to have your text columns filtered, you could do that by selecting the individual values. Whereas today, you can set multiple conditions and you can filter your text columns. You can now use reports as dashboards filtered like the one that you see here on the screen. All you got to do is just enable the feature, and you can click on any of the data points on your dashboard and you can filter your entire dashboard for that particular value, and you're going to see how the entire dashboard gets filtered only for ad group 5. And that's my filter on this particular dashboard that you see here. Here's an interesting update. You may be aware that you can drill into any data point in Zoho Analytics using the powerful drill down feature. It works by enabling you to drill down from a higher order to a lower order. Let's say, for example, you want to drill down from your sales across years into a sales across quarters, into a sales across months, down to a sales across weeks. Whereas the upward mobility of this analysis was not possible earlier. Now, using switch chart axis, you can now switch your axis and you can move from sales by week to a sales by month to a sales by quarter. to a sales by year. Well, that's not just the interesting part of it, but also it enables horizontal mobility to analyze your data. You can switch from a sales by region chart to a sales across years chart by simply switching the axis. So it enables upward, downward, and cross mobility to analyze your data from different dimensions. Now, when you have your reports and dashboards shared with your teams, now data governance becomes a concern. You might have defined your own drill down paths, and also the dynamic drill down enables you to perform or run exploratory analysis on your data to analyze it from multiple dimensions. You can now choose to disable dynamic drill down for particular views, enabling you to have a better control of your data. That wraps up the analysis section, and we're going to now discuss the updates in 2020 in collaboration. And we're going to get started with the contextual request access. Well, if you're trying to access a report or dashboard that was not shared with you earlier, you might have had to reach out through email specifying that report that you want access for, or you might end up calling that person asking for access. Today, it's enabled at the click of a button. All you got to do is just hit the request access button, and the respective stakeholders get notified about your request and they can approve it anytime for you to grant access. We got some powerful updates on data alerts. Data alerts help you get notified on anomaly or changes in your key metrics the way you have defined it for your business. Earlier, these data alerts were delivered through emails or as in app notifications. Today, we have extended deliveries to your Slack channels, MS Teams, and also with the help of webhooks, you can have these data alerts delivered inside your customized applications as well. That's going to help you stay informed for quicker decisions and actions. Well, we got another enhancement that's on publishing within your organization. Earlier, if you wanted to share a view within your company, you had to make it public and it had to be shared individually. Whereas today, it can be distributed in one click within your company. You can see the screenshot here on the right hand side on how you can enable this option under the access within organization external users. And by doing that, you can have it distributed across your company in no time. Well, you can now set expiry date for your private links. Well, you might work with ad agencies, contract agencies, and a lot more. Now, a lot of insights get shared in the form of private links. Now, what happens if your contracts expire? Now, these links could be a data concern because they are going to stay active. So earlier you had to manually delete these links, whereas now you can just put a date before you have these views shared, and you can also extend these dates anytime you like. And once the expiry date is over, these links are disabled automatically. Here's another update on column level publishing. Well, earlier, if you wanted to share your reports and dashboards to individuals or with groups, you could do that with fine grained access controls. That's you can define who sees what. Today, that's also being extended to publishing. You can now have your reports and dashboards published across multiple uh, places with fine grained access controls that gives you complete hold of your data. You can define what your users can see, what they can do with those reports and dashboards. All right, we're going to move to the next category that's on user experience. And the first update that I have for you is you can now have a look at your dependency details by simply clicking on the ellipses next to your chart name, and you can just hit dependency details, and you have the parent tables popping up on the right hand side. showing you on the tables on which these charts were built on. Earlier, you had to hit edit design, and on the chart builder interface, you had the tables stacked up on the left hand side. Today, you don't have to do that. You can just see it the way you see it now on the screen. Here's an interesting update on mobile notifications. This is about the mobile app, which is available on iOS and Android. You can now get notifications delivered inside your mobile app when an alert is triggered, when a view is shared, or if you're removed, or if you're added to a group. And the last bullet that you see here is very crucial for businesses. You get instantly notified if your scheduled import fails. So that helps you to quickly act on these failures to fix them in time. Well, by enabling you to create subfolders in your workspace, you can now organize your views in a more efficient way. You can have your entire workspace organized the way you like by creating subfolders. And with that, we're going to the last category for the day. That's on the administrative features. In 2020, we introduced a new role, that's the org admin role. And this is the hierarchy of roles in Zoho Analytics. Earlier, you did not have the org admin. You had the account admin right on top, followed by the workspace admin, and followed by users. Finally, you can now track actions and activities performed inside your account with the activity logging feature. You can track import of data, report creation, sharing reports, and a lot more. You can track the actions and activities of administrators, shared users, and public users as well. These are very helpful when you want to run an audit on your account. All right, folks. So, with that, I'm going to quickly summarize the 40 key features for you. Here's a quick rundown. We got started with data import, where we saw how Zoho Analytics can now integrate with Zoho Expense, LinkedIn Ads, Eventbrite, Sage, Instagram, Sales IQ, Site 24/7. We have a new module supported for QuickBooks integration. That's the customer type. You can now get your data from local databases like SAP HANA, Microsoft Access, Hive, and a lot more. You can now access and get your data from cloud drives like Google Team Drives, Amazon S3, and Zoho Work Drive. You can import your data from a cloud database directly into a table. Zoho Analytics now supports your custom built spatial data. The pagination and URL or feed import helps you import your data easily if it's spread across multiple pages and if you're trying to get your data through the API route. Under the data preparation section, we had data snapshot, which helps you to keep track of your historic changes in data. The date based lookup column enables you to establish lookup based on date. Under the visualization section, we had two new visualizations added to our basket of visualizations. We have horizontal bar charts and histograms. The fill chart with pattern helps people who find it difficult to identify colors, read charts effectively. Expand and collapse pivot view, show and hide helps you in running analysis on your pivot views. On the analysis front, we had five interesting enhancements in Zia, namely understanding unstructured and incomplete queries, typo tolerance, interpreting function types, short dates and weekends and weekdays, and also beefing up the capability to understand units of measurement. The advanced analytics now supports trendline that helps you identify trends in your dataset. The wildcard filter helps you to filter text columns with multiple conditions. Reports can now be used as filters to filter your dashboard for ad hoc analysis. The switch chart access enables you or gives you mobility to analyze your data from higher order to lower order and vice versa. And also, it gives you horizontal mobility for analyzing your data. You can now disable your dynamic drill down to ensure good data governance. On the collaboration front, you can now request access right from the within the context of your reports and dashboards, which for which you do not have access. Data alerts can now be delivered to your Slack channels, MS Teams, and also with webhooks, you can have it delivered into any custom built application. You can publish within your organization at the click of a button. You can define an expiry date for your private links, and once the dates exceed the expiry date, the links are automatically deactivated. You can now define fine grained access controls when you publish your reports and dashboards across different places. On the user experience front, you can easily now view your dependency details in the view mode. The mobile notifications are now enabled for four different use cases where you get are notified on alerts, on failed imports, and a lot more. You can now organize your views inside your workspace by creating subfolders. Finally, on the administrative role, we have a new role in Zoho Analytics in 2020. That's the org admin role that enables or gives powers as much as the account admin has, with some limitations. And finally, the activity logging helps you in keeping a close track of the activity that happens inside your account. All right, folks, with that quick summary, we are going to now head straight into an interesting Q&A session. I have with me Silas, a good friend of mine, who will be assisting us throughout this Q&A session. Now, before I hand it over to Silas, I would just like to remind you that this webinar is being recorded and we will share the recording with you in the next few days. Silas and myself, we will try to take as many questions as possible in this limited time. And in case we have not been able to answer your questions, we will definitely get back to you over email. Over to you, Silas.
Yes, thank you, Ashwin. Thanks for the great webinar. I hope it should be super helpful for most of the users out here. So without any further ado, let's step into the Q&A session. All right, so to take it up the questions, I got first question from Uwan that is it possible to have a browser notification alarms? Currently it is not supported in terms of browser notifications one. So we handled the in-app notification in web version of the product, and also when it goes to the mobile version of the product, you have the in-app notifications. We will be handling the browser specific notifications in future, but for the time being it's more into in-app notification. All right, I got the second question. Do you ever plan to perform Zoho CRM audit log analysis in analytics? Well, that's currently it's not in the plan, or maybe it's not supported so far, and we do not have immediate plans to support this, as we know certain important modules or kind of like some fields in certain modules are it to be supported, so we are focusing on it. We are very aggressively working on subforms integration, custom roles or custom fields support in a users module in Zoho CRM Analytics integration and so on. So those processes are in currently it is in development and implementation phase. So post that we are trying to address some other key requirements, and post that we will try to take it up this. But so far we hadn't planned to support this. So that's on the CRM Analytics integration. All right, so I got a question in terms of SAP HANA connection. Well, I mean, it's currently, it is, I mean, as you might aware of it, like Zoho Analytics supports a wide range of data sources uh, that includes the databases. And one of the update that we gave it in 2020 is connecting certain databases that includes SAP HANA. So customers can use the Zoho Analytics data bridge to connect the SAP HANA. So uh, all you need to do is just click on import at the right hand side top corner and choose the local databases or cloud databases, and go ahead and choose the appropriate data base. Or as a matter of fact, we connect any database that supports the JDBC drivers. So it doesn't need to be HANA or any other database in specific. It could be any database that supports the JDBC drivers. Zoho Analytics can connect and import the data and do it on schedule basis. All right, so I got other question, that is it possible to dashboard a report of Zoho Desk blueprints in Zoho Analytics? Currently, it is not much focused into blueprints. When it comes to Zoho Desk, we connect and import certain modules like accounts, a context request, and so on. So, not specific towards the blueprints, but maybe we are keen to understand your requirements in terms of what exactly that you're looking forward in terms of analytics on top of the blueprints data. Probably you can keep us post the requirements in detail, and we will be able to take it up further by doing some analysis. So please send an email to support@zohoanalytics.com with some detailed information about your requirement in terms of synchronizing the blueprints in Zoho Analytics. So that would be helpful for us to add it in our to-do list and take it up from there. All right. So looking forward to answer more questions from attendees. All right. I got a question in terms of ASIA, that what are all the questions that can be asked in ASIA? Well, that's pretty much open question, to be frank, to answer. So let's say, I mean, in basically the ZIA ASIA will help you to map, or try to understand your question and try to map the column names that exist in the table. So let's say you have a set of tables, and you have columns inside a table, and when you type in a question, it'll try to understand your question, process the natural language that you type in, and it'll try to map whatever the columns that involved in the tables, and whatever the functions that you're looking for, or whatever the sentence that you type in the question box. It'll try to use that combination and build a report on top of it. So we address certain questions like explicit questions. So let's say you precisely asked, like, let's say uh, sales by region, and let's assume that you have two columns called sales and region. Zoho Analytics can easily map and try to build a report. So explicit question in terms of the column names, or it could be like a WH question. It'll try to map the appropriate question, like, let's say, what is the sales for next 2 months or 3 months or something like that. As you might aware of it, like forecast feature is something that we have supported recently. I mean, in 2020, which is pretty much exclusive announcement in this webinar. And you can ask question like, what is the sales for next 3 months? It understand that you're looking for the forecasting sales from the current date, and it'll try to build a report on top of it. So it's pretty much open. And of course, as you might aware of it, Zia is completely customizable and trainable. So you can define the synonyms, you can specify the priority, and you can set the priority and predefined functions that you prefer to use on a specific columns or tables, and that will help you to use the Zia very easily. So that's how Zia works. Please try it out. And I guess I got a follow-up question in terms of the blueprints. So I mean, it's more often like a feedback. It is important to perform analysis of behavior of a process reflected in the blueprints. All right, so that makes sense. So thank you so much. Definitely, we will check the possibilities to take it up, as we have certain things in to-do list. So we will take it up one by one based on the user's requirement. So we will add it to the to-do list. We will do some analysis, and we will try to support it. All right. So happy to take it up a couple of questions from here, and then I think we can move forward. All right. I got a question in terms of data connection again. So is it possible to connect some e-commerce applications? Yes, currently you might aware of it, like Zoho Analytics already supports the Shopify application, Shopify integration. So Shopify is one of the very famous e-commerce tool, as many of you are aware of it. So Zoho Analytics has the direct integration with Shopify application, and also recently we have opened up the beta version of WooCommerce integrations as well. So those two e-commerce applications we are currently support a direct integration, and we are planning to expand that specific domain. Like by adding more applications in the data sources, because e-commerce is one of the very uh, good traction domain in analytics, in terms of analytics or in overall in the IT business application sector. So we're trying to expand more with more business applications, e-commerce specific applications. But currently we have the direct integration with Shopify, and WooCommerce is something in the beta version. All right. So I think no further questions, but if you have any questions, feel free to get in touch with us through support at zohoanalytics.com, and we are happy to answer your questions. So have a great holidays ahead. I will do Ashwin back. Thank you, Ashwin.
Thank you, Silas, for anchoring the Q&A session. Folks, Silas did mention that you can write to us on support@zoanalytics.com. You can explore these powerful features that we discussed today on zoho.com/analytics. Well, given the time constraint, we did a webinar on the 40 key features, but there's a lot more to explore. You can check out our help page on help/what's new. And you can also visit our webinar section where we keep posting webinars on new feature updates. That's at zoho.com/analytics/analytics-2020. All right, so once you exit this webinar, you'll be prompted to ask for your feedback. So I request you to leave your valuable feedback. That's it for the day, folks. Thank you for sticking along. Happy holidays and stay safe. Take care. Bye bye.